Hi everyone, this is about sexual self in understanding the self. Our learning objectives, secondary sexual characteristics in males and females, identify and stimulate the erogenous zone, the basis of the sexual response cycle, understand basic biological mechanisms regulating sexual behavior and motivation. Describe three approaches to diagnosis and treatment of STDs for symptomatic persons. The aim is to achieve contraception in maximum comfort and privacy with minimum cost and side effects.
Reminder, this is for educational use only. Our group is allowing our instructor, Mr. Roldan Ardines, to use this uneducational material. The sexual self. Sexual self, it refers how one thinks about one himself as a sexual individual. It speaks of your sexual health, sexual orientation, gender identity, and expression, and it values around your sexuality. Now let's talk about gender. What is gender? Gender is your psychological sense of self, of who you are in your head and know yourself to be. So, it is the characteristic of a man or a woman or a boy that is socially constructed. Now, we're going to talk about socially constructed. Now, it depends only on the influence of the other people. So, if you are gay or lesbian, that is gender. Let's talk about sex. What is sex? Sex is referred to psychological difference between people who are male, female, or intersex. A person typically their sex assigned at birth based on their psychological characteristic, including their genitalia or chromosomes composition. Now, sexual identity. Sexual identity can change throughout individual's life and may not align with biological self, biological sex, sexual behavior, or actual sexual orientation. It may reflect sexual self-concept, that is the individual of evolution of his or her own sexual feelings and action. So that is sexual self.
Good day everyone. So I'm here to discuss the erogenous zone. So the body has area known as erogenous zones that when touched or aroused generated sexual sensations. So they can be extragenital or genital. Foreplay must stimulate the extragenital erogenous zone in order for women to have orgasm. So we all have erogenous zones, but everyone's different. So you may not feel all the tingly goodness in the same area as another person. So that said, you likely have more of these hotspots than you know. So there are 7 erogenous zones in our relationship. So the main ones would be the lips, the neck, the air lovers, the chest or breast area, and inner sides, the butt, and then the genitals. So there are thought to be 7 main erogenous or primary erogenous zones, that there can also be secondary or tertiary. So erogenous zones in its examples, an area or a part of body sensitive to stimulation that is a source of erotic or sexual feeling or pleasure. So among the primary zones are genitals, buttocks, and anus, the breast, especially the nipples, and the mouth. So that's all about my discussing the erogenous zone.
Now let's proceed to the human sexual response. The sexual response cycle refers to the sequence of physical and emotional changes that occur as a person becomes sexually aroused and participates in sexually stimulating activities, including intercourse and masturbation. Knowing how your body responds during each phase of the cycle can enhance your relationship and help you pinpoint the cause of sexual dysfunction. There are several different proposed models of a sexual response cycle. The first phase is the excitement, where it's easy to understand from the word excite. This phase is all about being prepared in sexual activities, where there are things that we will feel like, such like increased heartbeat, fast breathing, and nipples become harder or erect. And it will not only from men but also in women. And in this phase, the vagina will start lubricating from women's, and also men will start to release that what we call precum. So in the excitement part, have you experienced that initiating the sexual activities such like kissing? So from how long we can feel excitement where we can experience heart beating and fast breathing, and we have things that we're thinking. And the next phase will be the foreplay after the excitement, which is the plateau phase. In this phase, intensifies the responses from the excitement phase. Breathing, blood flow, and heart rate continue to increase to stabilize. Muscle tension increases and may extend to hands, feet, face, and other areas of the body. It is the period of sexual excitement prior to orgasm. The phase is characterized by an increased circulation and heart rate in both sexes, increased sexual pleasure with increased stimulation and further increased muscle tension. After this stage, the next phase will be the orgasm, where orgasm is an intense, pleasurable feeling that occurs at the end of the plateau phase. So, the orgasm is the effect or after the plateau phase where we're initiating sexual activities and circulation. So when we get the pinpoint on the orgasm, so this will occur. Orgasm is usually the most intense peak of the sexual response cycle. It is also the shortest of all phases in the cycle. So it is the shortest phase in the cycle because it will not last for how many minutes, but it will only last for a second. And it occurs when the sexual and muscular tension. The experience of orgasm differs from person to person and experience to experience. So when we talk about orgasm, it is not the same to all person. It will define and it will base on what our experience are or being a person individually. It can feel quick and intense or slow and relaxed. Not all sexual experiences result in orgasm. No, not sexual experience will result in orgasm, such like, but it will depend in a person. So we can't judge. This doesn't mean that a sexual experience cannot be pleasurable. There is often a lot of pressure to achieve orgasm during sex, and if a person does not experience this, they may feel inadequate or as if they've done something wrong. So when women or men doesn't reach orgasm, maybe your partner will feel like frustrated because they didn't reach that orgasm. The last phase will be the resolution phase. This is the end stage of sexual arousal. It's called resolution. During the resolution period, a relaxation of the muscles as well as psychologically will occur. When a person with a penis enters the resolution phase, they lose their erection and experiences what is called the refractory period. So refractory period, it is what we call the relaxation where we are ready to do a second round, do it again. So this is the period of time it takes a person with a penis to experience another erection. The duration of the refractory period usually increases with age. So when we're young, so we have only a short refractory because we're still young. People with vaginas doesn't experience a refractory period. They may be sexually aroused and do it again quickly. So the girls or women doesn't experience any refractory period. So after they do orgasm, they're already ready to do another round or to do it again. So they don't relax and they feel like they're still hot to do things. So that will would be all in the human sexual response.
When infants first touch their genitals, they are merely exploring the world they can reach with their hands, with no intention or discovering sexual pleasure. They do not innately know how to masturbate or produce sexual pleasure. However, in this process of exploration, many infants discover that touching their own genitals bring pleasure. Technically speaking, genital stimulation is a primary reinforcer because nerves from the genitals are biologically reinforcer because nerves from the genitals are biologically connected to the pleasure centers in the brain, and genitals stimulate rewarding feelings. As the children become older, their sexual behaviors gradually diminish. Children primarily masturbate at home and attempt to look at people who are undressing or nude. The sexual urge and behaviors are often distressing and uncontrollable, triggered by certain mood states like sadness or depression, and result in a negative mood state and feelings of shame.
Good morning everyone, I am Kadit Umpoy and I am here to discuss the topic about understanding the chemistry of love attachment. True, there are overlaps and subtleties to each. Each type is characterized by its own set of hormones. Testosterone and estrogen drive lust, dopamine, norepinephrine, and serotonin create attraction, and oxytocin and vasopressin mediate attachment. Love can be distilled into three categories: lust, attraction, and attachment. So first is lust. When you're in the stage of lust, you feel physically attracted and drawn to the object of your affection. You want to seduce them or to be seduced. There are maybe an element of mystery or an intensity that makes things exciting. Imagine a hot one night stand. Lust is driven by the hormones testosterone in men and estrogen in women. Lust occurs across species and may be part of the basic drive to find a partner to spread our genes with, but lust is different than love. Injecting men with testosterone make them desire a potential lover more, but not necessarily fall in love in any lasting way. Next is attraction. In the second stage, you begin to obsess about your lover and crave his presence. Your heart races and you don't feel like sleeping or eating. You may even get sweaty palms. You feel a surge of extra energy and excitement as you fantasize about the things you'll do together. These feelings are created by three chemicals: norepinephrine, dopamine, and serotonin. And the third is attachment. Attachment involves wanting to make a more lasting commitment to your loved one. This is the point at which you may move in together or get married and or have children. After about 4 years in relation, dopamine decreases and attraction goes down. If things are going well, it gets replaced by the hormones oxytocin and vasopressin. which create the desire to bond, affiliate with, and nurture your partner. You want to cuddle and be close and share your deepest secrets with him or her. You plan and dream together.
The diversity of sexual behavior, sexual orientation, gender identity, and expression. So when we say sexual behavior, it is a diverse and a complex aspect of a human life, and it encompasses the various aspects such as sexual orientation, gender identity, and expression. In this report, we will discuss the diversity of sexual behavior, including the different sexual orientation, gender identities, and expression that exist. So, sexual orientation refers to a person's romantic and sexual attraction to others, and it encompasses a wide range of identities. The most common sexual orientations are heterosexual, homosexual, and bisexual. Gender identity. Gender identity refers to a person's sense of self as male, female, or something else. Gender identity is different from biological sex and is determined by a person's internal sense of gender. Gender expression. Gender expression refers to the way a person presents themselves to the world, including their clothing, hairstyle, and behavior. To summarize everything, the diversity of sexual behavior encompasses various aspects such as sexual orientation, gender identity, and gender expression. It is important to recognize and respect this diversity and promote inclusivity and acceptance for all individuals, regardless of their sexual orientation or gender identity.
I will explain the STD, or stands for Sexually Transmitted Disease, also called Sexually Transmitted Infection, STIs. STDs are infections that are spread from person to person from sexually active, including anal, vaginal, and oral sex. Many health cares provide use to the term infection instead of disease, because a person with an infection may have no symptoms but still require treatment. When undertreated, an STI can become a disease. HIV is a sexually transmitted infection, but it can progress to a disease called acquired immunodeficiency syndrome, or AIDS, when HIV infection is untreated. Other examples of STDs are chlamydia, gonorrhea, human papillomavirus, or HPV infections, and syphilis. Having an STD can make it easier to get HIV. For example, an STD can cause a sore of a break in a skin, which can make it easier for HIV to enter this body. Having HIV and other STD may increase the risk of HIV transmission. To prevent STDs, including HIV, choose less risky sexual behaviors and use condom correctly every time you have sex. The question is, how can you protect yourself? I give 2 samples to protect yourself. Reduce number of sex partners. Reducing of numbers of sex partners can decrease your risk for STDs. It's still important that you and your partner get tested and that you share your test results with one another. Number 2, correct and consistent use of the male latex condoms is highly effective in reducing STS transmission. Use a condom every time you have sex, anal, vaginal, or oral sex, but okay ra siya sa imong partner kung imong asawa, dugay na mo, it's good no condoms. If you have latex allergy, synthetic non-latex condom can be used, but it is important to note that these condoms have higher breakage rates that latte condom natural in brain condoms are not recommended for STD prevention.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Alexis Gala, and my topic is the method of contraception. Because of the some with breastfeeding or form a natural contraception, this is known as the lactational ammonia method or LEM. When used correctly and consistently, less than 2 in 100 women who use LLM will get pregnant in the first 6 months. There are a method of taking LLM like cups of diagrams, combined pills, condoms, contraceptive implant or conception injection, or like female condom. So many the example of like family planning, like